Really, Munchkin? Call of Duty? Again?
No.
Really?
Yes.
How about you play something a little bit more enjoyable?
No.
Come on. I need to review something new anyway. You're not gonna help me. How about, let's see, we got Crisis 3, we got Deadpool. This, not Sonic.
Crisis!
How about Mighty Number 9? I haven't reviewed a Wii U game in a while. Maybe it's a good time to do that. Yes, Mighty Number 9. 5 years of reviewing games, and on my 5th year anniversary, I'm playing this? I mean, I've heard a lot of negative things about this game. I ignored the hype because I never really wanted to give up my hopes on a game that resembled Mega Man and was just as fun. I mean, I would have loved to play something so great in design. A 2D quality Mega Man with modern visuals? I loved Mega Man 9, don't get me wrong. You know, the retro throwback that Capcom released years ago. But Mighty Number 9 was supposed to be a game that remembered its source material. Now, I know a bunch of my friends played it and never really got too far into it for various reasons, but I'm going to play it on my own and see what all the fuss is about. Keep in mind, I bought this at the exact same time that I bought Shovel Knight, so I'm expecting a lot from this. Alright, let's start this up.
Crisis 3.
Yeah, let's play Mighty Number 9. This is new.
It's taking too long.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, even Call of Duty doesn't take this long.
Quiet you.
What? It doesn't!
It's because, yeah, I got nothing for that.
I win.
You haven't won yet. There, see, we loaded.
I haven't won yet.
You know, this is going to be so much better than Call of Duty.
Around 300 zombies. Try getting up to that.
I don't do zombies.
The world record is 1,000. Or something like that.
Why isn't this letting me go here? There we go. Finally.
You happy now?
No. See,
It's got
I was like going in the options first. Seriously, loading? It's got to load in options?
I told you Call of Duty doesn't do this, but no.
Shut up, Munchkin. This isn't even funny. We haven't even started the game yet.
This was very funny to me.
Holy crap. Just for this. So we need all that loading just for gamma, some bloom, some audio options, and other. Holy crap. Are we ever going to actually play this game? We need the Jeopardy theme. Alright, never mind, we're there. Yes, Mighty Number 9 has extremely long loading times, even when checking out the small amount of options available in that screen. Awesome, right? But if the game has to put so much effort into loading the game, and even looking at the fact that the title screen looks like frickin' Mega Man X, it has just got to be frickin' awesome, right? Right? Oh shit, this is gonna be awful, isn't it? So let's check out the story. It's your typical Mega Man-esque futuristic plot where a bunch of robots are living peacefully among humans. In order to sate the hunger of violence in this world, robots fight in an arena where they have names, but are just normally designated by numbers. Generic. Anyway, you can probably imagine what happens. Something goes terribly wrong and... What the fuck, another loading screen? Good God, what is the deal here? Anyway, after what seems like forever, we can see a bot named Beck approaching the generically named Dr. White. They talk about the sun chaos and how they must run towards the lab. You then get to control Beck and get to feel how this feels just like a slightly enhanced Mega Man game. But at the same time, you just get the feeling that something is off. Do you even know what I'm talking about, Munchkin?
No.
You've never even played a Mega Man game, have you?
No.
Humans. And yes, the voice acting is some of the worst I've seen in a long time. You just won't get used to it. As are many games with bad voiceovers, they're not quite as Resident Evil 1 level, but there's still something that you can skip over and not feel the least bit guilty doing so. So this beginning stage functions as a tutorial of sorts. I'm not going to go into the mechanics that are taken directly from its source of inspiration, because that would be redundant to my reviews where I actually check out those games. Instead, I want to talk about the main thing that sets Mighty Number 9 apart from its older siblings, the dashing Zell absorption. See, as you're firing at your enemies, after they take enough damage, they're going to flash a color. When this happens, you can opt to fire about 100 more shots at them to finally destroy them in a pathetically small blast of smoke. Or instead, you can dash by pressing the R button to run ahead and suck up your enemy's Zell energy. Spelled X-E-L. Get it? Cell. Yeah, I agree. It's pretty dumb, but just roll with it here. You can get by the main stage portions without using this ability once, although it will be difficult to do so and survive. But with bosses, it's a completely different story. After taking enough damage, the boss will glow as a normal enemy would, and if you don't dash towards them, any energy they've lost will regenerate and quickly. In order to finish off a boss, you need to deplete their energy meter and then do a dash. If you do, Beck will do a lame looking Hadouken and snap the bot out of it. And this is how the game works. This is all explained to you in the first stage of the game, much like how the intro stage of Mega Man X works. This one is just more annoying with the constant voice acting. So what do you think so far?
Call of Duty's better.
Oh, come on. This is from the same guy who created Mega Man. Call of Duty's not better from this. It's an upgraded Mega Man game.
Call of Duty is better.
I'll show you how to play
I'm gonna
this.
finish this one. Call of Duty. Thank you very much.
But we're just getting started. Yes, the game features 8 stages that you can choose from once the intro is completed. You can also opt to replay any levels that you cleared, including the intro, in order to get a better score. But seriously, who really gives a shit about a leaderboard? This is just one of those gimmicks in which they kind of force in an online component just to say that it's there. When you choose a stage, you'll get an option where you can have call, give you a briefing on the stage. Although strangely, the text on the screen moves way too slowly. After this, you can choose to play the stage or choose a new one. Then after an agonizingly long wait for the freaking stage to load, you start the stage. Just like every 2D Mega Man game ever created, you go from the start to the end, blasting robots, avoiding obstacles, and clearing the boss. And yes, once you defeat a boss, you obtain its power. There are other advantages to clearing certain bosses before attempting certain stages, which I'll get to later. Ash! I did it! I beat the first level! I'm getting somewhere! This game's so much better than Call of Duty!
Good for you. Now what does this face tell me?
You don't care, do you? Yeah, just go back and play your Call of Duty. I'm getting somewhere.
I don't know 33 zombies. I'm better fish to fry.
You know what? I will conquer this game. I will. And yes, Mighty Number 9 has issues. A lot of them. Perhaps its biggest problem is the cheap deaths that you'll encounter. The enemies themselves won't give you too much concern. You'll just blast a few caps in their ass and then dash into them to absorb them. Simple. But dashing has its own problems. For example, there were times where I dashed to destroy an enemy and fell right into a trap. Enemies seem to be placed in the most dangerous locations possible, so that if the enemy doesn't harm you, the spikes will. And those spikes? Fuck them. This gives you more frustration than the spikes in any Mega Man game have ever given me. Not to mention you constantly hear the buzzing electricity threatening you every time you come within a moderate distance of this instant kill trap. And there's more. Take for example this area here, and check out all the hazards. You don't even have a chance. This oil on the ground was ignited by the fiery bot. You have the electrical current going through the ceiling, which is an instant death. And you have horizontally moving platforms that you need to time your movement on. And here's something even better. Beck won't get pushed back when he's damaged, but if he's hanging from a ledge, he'll lose his grip and fall off. Now if this happens here, you're screwed, because there's not enough safe time between hits to jump and climb up the ledge. Instead, you're stuck in an infernal loop where you'll fall to the ground, take damage from the fire, leap up to grab the corner of the platform, but then fall again as the flames char your ass. This just repeats until you die. I almost quit at this point, and this is the first level I tried. I'm dead serious about this. But, of course I didn't quit. I don't quit just that easily.
Play some Call of Duty. This game sucks.
How about you get over here and we'll play a new game called Smack a Munchkin?
No!
But, of course the annoyances don't end there at the fire pit. There's more crap you'll have to endure, like the load times after death. Yep, you'll have to sit through a lengthy loading sequence every freaking time you die. Doesn't matter how far away you are from the checkpoint. If you die, you're sitting through at least a 10-second loading screen, if not longer. Another annoyance is the constant one-liners. Oh god, they're bad. Listening to the shitty dialogue in this game is one thing, but the fact that every time you pick up a power-up by dashing, you hear Beck say the same thing over and over and fucking over, and you'll end up muting the TV. I didn't mention the power-ups. There's two types. The regular ones that you will find throughout the stages, and the equipment perks, for lack of a better word. The regular power-ups are your standard Mega Man-esque abilities. Life-ups, extra lives, weapon energy, etc. Granted, they aren't as plentiful as you might be used to if you've lived in the same era I have with Mega Man games, since enemies don't really drop anything, which can add to the mentality that this game is challenging. But in addition to this, you can get additional abilities by dashing into the disabled foes that are glowing either green, red, or yellow. The red foes will give you a more powerful shot that will do more damage, in addition to traveling through walls and your enemies. It is by far your most useful absorption ability. The yellow orb will grant you more agility, allowing Beck to move much faster. Your green one increases your defensive ability, giving Beck resistance to damage and reducing the amount of health you lose upon getting hurt. Each of these are definitely worth obtaining, but of course they only last a few seconds before disappearing. And in case you're wondering, the blue glowers only add to your score, and in this day and age, no one gives a shit about score. Thought you were gonna play Call of Duty.
No, your screaming made me unfocused and then I died.
Yeah, I'm dying a lot here.
Pyro!
Burn! The world must burn!
Pyro, wait!
Warning. Multiple incoming robots detected.
What? Where?
Okay, that's it. Angry Reaper time! Why the fuck does the game force me to stop at these points? You play the stage, and at certain points the game stops the scrolling and unloads a shit ton of fucking bots that you must destroy before continuing on. What the fuck is up with this? Why do I need to do this? The game isn't meant for this kind of shit. All you're doing is shooting and dashing all over the place. It's like there's no rhyme or fucking reason for it. And it's not like it's a fun area to be in. Oh no, it's a fucking flat floor with a fucking enemy constantly harassing you while you deal with other fucking enemies shooting at you when you can only defeat a certain fucking amount of them. Speaking of flat rooms, the level design of each stage, with few exceptions, is poor. Environments are bland with minimal colors or even detail. The enemies look like uninspired creations that I could have pulled out of the mind of a young child that has a very underdeveloped imagination. Not to mention that when they are ready to be absorbed, they emit simple squares. Not round particles that shimmer or anything. Just fucking squares. And when you die, which you will, that's exactly what you blow up into. Fucking squares. It's like the developers didn't give a shit. It's like they said, fuck it all. Let's just create the game using as little effort as possible and release it to all the gamers that don't know any better. If we feel like fixing it, we'll just patch the fucking thing. And while I'm on level design, I didn't mention that this also contributes to the horrible traps you'll encounter. Like here. You're just jumping down platforms deeper into a mine. You have these indents where you can hang from, and you just keep hopping down. But you don't see what's below you because the game doesn't scroll down far enough. So guess what's on the bottom and what you'll probably land on? That's right, fucking spikes. Because why the fuck not? And this isn't the only time you run into this kind of scenario. There's usually at least one part in each stage with this kind of bullshit. In addition, let's take one of the more interesting stages of the game. The one where you're jumping on moving vehicles as they travel down a freeway. Now, this is pretty badass, and something I've loved seeing. I loved it in Uncharted 2, I loved it in Wet, I actually kind of admit I love it here. Until you find that the dashing mechanic makes things even more dangerous than they need to be. Add in the fact that the boss appears and destroys some of the vehicles that you stand on, and this is going to be a frantic race to the end of the stage. But, dare I say that this is still kind of fun? It ups the ante. It adds in action, something that this game seems to be missing. and yet of course it feels like one of the shorter stages of the game. While I'm talking about stages, let's go right to the most boring stages of the game. The City Hall, where you fight the sniper bot. That's right, a sniper. He literally hides in the eternally looping City Hall building as he constantly shoots at you. If you're not quick enough, he'll just keep hiding on you, waiting for you to find him and attack. Once you do, he'll move on to a different corridor, and this game of hide and seek repeats for what seems like forever. I actually gave up here when I first played this stage, until I got the help of one of the liberated robot masters, who cut this stage shorter. I guess I could talk about the robot masters, otherwise known as the mighty numbers 1 through 8. Each has an official name, like Battalion, Pyrogen, or Brandish, although each is typically shortened to a nickname by Beck. They function just like every other Mega Man game, in which you fight to the boss and battle them one-on-one. I've already told you how they function, in which you shoot them, dash at them, and then repeat until you get the Hadouken scene. But here's where the game differentiates slightly. Whereas in Mega Man X and beyond, once you clear a certain stage, it may alter other stages to make them slightly easier. But instead of being physically altered, it typically just means that one of the defeated bots, which happen to always be the current stage boss's weakness, will show up at times, usually in the background, and cause a bit of mayhem to prevent an event from occurring. It may result in the damn screen lock gauntlets from not having unreachable enemies to fire at you. It may prevent a trap from going off. Or, in the best example, it will tell you exactly where that fucking sniper is. Fucking waste of a stage. Anyway, you might assume that the game continues its guesswork in which you pick a stage and then cycle through your powers, hoping that one of them that you own will result in an early demise for the mighty number whatever. But that's not the case here. In a moment where the developers decide to make it stupidly simple for you, the game flat out tells you in the stage select area what boss is weak to. Okay, maybe that's reading too far between the lines, but it's essentially what happens. You'll notice that upon picking a stage, if you own that boss's weakness, you'll see an additional option that wasn't there in the beginning: advice. By selecting this, you'll get an additional briefing from the robot that's best suited for that stage. You don't have to manually choose the robot to come with you, but instead, you'll just want to view this so that you know what weapon to use against the boss. It takes all the guesswork out of it, as you can defeat one boss and then go down the list. Granted, the story is essentially throwaway and you may not even bother reading or even listening to what the boss says, but you can if you really want to.
Question, why are the guys going bonkers?
You know? I don't even know. It's probably some generic crap like, oh, some sort of virus went haywire and blew up all the zombie. Yeah, now you got me talking about zombies. Meant robots. There's probably some sort of robot virus, and you know what? That's right. That is what's going on. Of course, your generic, oh, robots go haywire. Now there's one lone robot that wasn't infected somehow, and now he has to save the whole freaking world.
Maybe if you got to the end, maybe it'd be exciting.
No, you know what? No, screw that crap. Let's play Mega Man 2. Your dad hasn't run here.
No, we're finishing this.
Okay, fine. Just because you're asking. I've already mentioned that the level designs pretty much suck, but the shittiness doesn't just stop there. Take the graphics. They're just bland, with few exceptions to this. The highway stage is pretty cool, as I've already mentioned, as is the radio tower. Wait. Look at this. Beck is freaking jittery as this platform moves up. Okay, you think in this day and age that this kind of programming would be ironed out, but not in Mighty Number 9. This is the kind of half-assed production that makes people like myself lose all faith in future games, especially shooters like Call of Duty.
Hey,
Face it, little man, gaming just isn't what it used to be.
you just beat a boss. Be happy.
Right. Means I get to play even more of this crap.
Hey, you had 3 lives. Why are you down to 2?
Wait, what? Son of a bitch. That's right. If you clear the stage with less than 2 lives, they are automatically replenished for you once you finish the boss off. But if you have more than 2 lives, they'll be taken from you. What the shit is this about? You're going to tell me that I get a handicap if I suck in a stage, but penalize me if I did well? Fuck this. E-tanks suck in this game too. They're called something else, but I can't be bothered to remember anymore. You can carry 2 varieties. One can be picked up in full, and another that will fill up on its own while picking up power-ups. That's it. And if you die, you lose any E-tanks you've accumulated in that stage. In addition, if you don't find any, you won't be given them, unless you get lucky at one of the points where Eddie, whatever this plug thing is, gives you items. He'll be nice and give you more items if you die a lot in a stage, but it's still frustrating. You know, I never told you how the weapon energy works in this game. When using sub-weapons, you have your standard weapon energy, which can be replenished by picking up your normal weapon power-ups. But in addition to this, when not firing your special weapons, they will automatically regenerate. This is a welcome feature, and something that I can finally say I enjoy about the game, other than that highway stage, of course. If you're firing away with something other than that pathetic pea shooter and run out of energy, you can just put it away for a bit and come back later to the fire again. Holy crap, I just said something nice about this game. That's the last one. You know what that means, right, Grasshopper?
We play something else?
No. We still got the final stage. But at least this time we're not just restricted to Beck.
Who's back?
You haven't been paying attention, have you?
No.
So when you have bested the 8 mighty numbers, you get a few extra stages unlocked. One of which requires you to play as Call, who is fairly disappointing to play as. I appreciate the fact that you get to do something different, even if there's not much to differentiate the character other than the visual design. But it's not a very fun stage. Cole gets what looks to be a more powerful blast, but it's slow. In addition, much of her stage focuses more on stealth and finding freaking key cards like a 2D Metal Gear Solid. Overall, it was enough to make me fall asleep. Thankfully, I think there's only one stage that forces you to play as Cole. The other stage has you control Beck as always, but here's actually where I quit. You're entering a robot factory, but then have to move around some tricky traps, which isn't a huge deal. But what pissed me off and ultimately got me to stop playing was this area here, where you get locked in this room and have to defeat a ton of small annoying little bots. They just keep coming, and they're difficult to see because they just blend into the floor design. At this point, I just said fuck it, I was done. And then that time, I was serious about it. Mighty Number 9 is a huge disappointment of a game. It feels like the whole thing was rushed. The graphics are bland, the story is boring, the voices are ear-splitting, and the music? Well, I didn't really talk about the music, but it's subdued, at least so it feels. You can opt to change it to an 8-bit style, but that's not worth it. In addition, the whole dash mechanic feels way too gimmicky for it to be any fun. Overall, this is a game that falls to the bottom of my game pile. If I wanted to play a good side-scroller, I'll go back to Shovel Knight. Or hell, just go back to playing a frickin' Mega Man game. Final score? 4 out of 10.
Where are you going?
I need to let off some steam.
Alright, then I'm gonna play your game. Get all 40 lives back. Alright, how do I play again?
Motherfucking piece of shit game that can't get something as simple as fucking respawning without fucking loading right! Fucking shit for bringing twat monkey to voiceover cast that can't come up with something better than alright! Fuck this game! Fuck it to hell! Fuck!
I just got the final ending!
Damn it!
Better?
Actually, not yet.
Are you ready for quitting? I was getting the final cutscene!
Too bad. You wanna have the honors?
Happy fragging?
There you go. Ah, much better. How about we play something better? Mega Man 3.